The rules and regulations of netball and volleyball. So firstly, the time of the netball. So the duration of a netball match consists of 4 quarters, which go on for 15 minutes. Break 1 and 3 are 3 minutes long, and half-time goes on for 5 minutes. But the whole netball match goes on for 60 minutes. And when the team come back onto the court, they will switch ends. So the volleyball time. So the duration of a volleyball match is different. There isn't a set time. It can take roughly up to 30 minutes or 60 minutes. There can be 3 or 5 sets. It depends, or games. It depends on the duration, obviously, of the game itself and the scoring when it goes through. It just depends on the situation. So you can have a really bad team, which are just performance-wise is just poor. So the better team is just smashing them throughout the rallies, then obviously getting up to 25 points, and just it's going to be a quicker match. Whereas obviously if you've got two teams which are similarly like performing at the same level, it's going to be different. They're going to just be bouncing off each other. The rallies are going to go for longer, then obviously making it more 60 minutes match. So next we are going to look at scoring. So the scoring netball. So the way you score a netball is by shooting into the goal net with the netball ball. But you have to be inside the D to be able to shoot, and only the goal shoot and goal attack can shoot on both of the teams, but obviously they have to stay in their thirds. They're the only ones who can actually go into the D itself, obviously, as well as the goalkeeper and goal defence, but they can't shoot. They can just defend their, obviously, their third. So you have to keep shooting throughout the game to keep your goals, because the opposition obviously would try to shoot for themselves, and this obviously what you call to more goals. So when it comes to the obviously the end of the whole match, whoever has the most goals wins. So something like if your team scored 20 and the other team scored 30 goals, then the team who scored 30 wins. So the goals reset after you come back onto the court after the quarter, but they are all recorded and added up at the end. So in volleyball, it's a bit different. There's 2 ways of scoring in volleyball. One way is called side-out scoring. This is when the serving team wins a point due to the opposition not being able to attack back, or the ball just doesn't come over the net, or the volleyball goes out of bounds, therefore allowing the original serving team to keep serving. The way the non-serving team starts to serve will only be if the serving team are able to return the volleyball back over the net, or the volleyball goes out of bounds, therefore giving the non-serving team a point and chance to serve. Then playing side-out scoring system only goes up to 15 points with the 2 margin point system. If there isn't a 2-point margin, they have to go up to 17. The other way of scoring is rally scoring. If one team fails to return the volleyball over the net or hit it out of bounds, the other team will get a point. The scoring system for this will go up to 25 points, and it has to be at least 2-point margin again. The game can be done by 3 to 5 games, but in the 5th game it will only play up to 15 points, and again it needs that 2 margin. The officials, so the official netball will have to learn all the rules and regulations of the netball and know the hand signal. This is their responsibility, because as an umpire you need to present a fair game, so knowing hand signals and all the correct rules obviously will ensure this. Some responsibilities are safeties. So whilst the game is happening, such as injuries can occur following so they need to follow the right procedure. So like stop the game, make sure they're okay, and then once they know that they're okay, bring them off the court. Also making the right decision in the game, such as if there was like a foul on footwork, make sure the proper procedures is followed again. So once again, stopping the game, make sure that right hand signals are shown. There are normally 2 umpires on the netball game. They will, both of them will be on one side of the court, and they'll be, they'll have 2/3 between them. so they follow an inspection at the start of the game. They will look at each player, such as they will look at their fingernails, if they have any jewellery on, and the correct uniform. So with the fingernails, they can't be if you have to show the umpire a certain way with your fingers, and if your nails obviously are too high, you have to either cut them down or you won't be able to play. So as well as looking at that, you need to look at the equipment before. So the net's at the right height, and the balls need to be safe. So if there's obviously any threads coming off of it, or if it's punctured and stuff like that, it won't be allowed to play with it. And then obviously once this is all fine, they can start the game. So the officials require obviously a whistle, just obviously so the players can hear them loud and clear when they want to obviously say if there was a foul or anything. It's best if they wear a different colour so they can so they don't blend in with the teams. So the bright colours are the best. They definitely need to know hand signals, like I said before. And they'll have to speak to the players when necessary. So obviously, if a player didn't think the proper if they said a foul and they don't think it was correct, and the players start putting up a fight, obviously they would need to calm them down, follow the right procedure and everything. And they need to know obviously the way to hand out penalties and to stop quarter time and half time. So the volleyball officials, they're there to enforce obviously the rules again and to keep the game in a flowing kind of pace, so that it's no stopping and starting. So again, there's two officials. So we've got the scorer and the line judge. So the scorer role is to keep track of the score throughout the game. Therefore, obviously, so before the game commences, the scorer will have to take a note of the order of the line and like the line up of the positions of the team. So obviously, there's no unfair business happening. Obviously, putting in maybe a different player on when they weren't meant to be on the court. Next, line judges. They will be standing on each corner, therefore obviously there's 4 in total. Their role is to watch if the ball goes out of play, such as if it bounced inside or out of the court on the lines of the court. So there's for the officials, there's the first official. It's in charge of watching over the game, makes calls, and their decision is final. Before the game begins, the first official must check the equipment and players' uniform, so it's all correct, all fine, and there's no obviously hazards. They will also be in charge of coin toss at the very start of the game. So the second official helps the first official through the game. If the first official cannot do their responsibilities, then the second official will step in. They sit next to the post opposite the first official and is in charge of all the substitution, timeouts, and the actions of the scorer. So next is the sizing of the squads. So netball, one team must bring a maximum of 12 players, but only 7 of them can go on the court at a time. There actually can be the total of 14 players. In volleyball, the team can have up to 15 players, but only 6 are allowed on the court. The rest will sit on the bench and wait to be substituted on. So the ball out of play. The ball can go out of play when the ball has either bounced outside of the marked lines on the netball court, or if someone has caught the ball outside or partly outside the netball court, which is on the line. The ball is not out if the player hits. The ball is not out if it hits the goalpost and rebounds straight back into the court. So with volleyball, obviously if it contacts the floor outside the boundary lines, this indicates that the ball will be out of play. Also, if the ball touches any objects outside the court, so if it touches a person or the ceiling, this will be out of play. If the ball touched any part of the net, post, ropes, antennae will indicate any outplay. If the ball goes underneath the net, even though it didn't touch the net, it will be still out. So with the fouls, for netball, a foul means if a player either is being unfair, dangerous, or misconduct play. This foul can be all the fouls can be footwork, which is like moving the ball, so traveling, so contact, this equals to pushing and shoveling. Also, there's obstruction, which means being too close to the person with the ball. Lastly, there's a 3-second rule. So you can't hold the ball for 3 seconds. If so, the umpire will blow you up. For any of these fouls, obviously the umpire will blow you up by the whistle. So with volleyball, you cannot hold the ball, catch or throw the ball. The ball has to be kept up in the air and be moving. You cannot touch the ball straight after you've touched it, such as, so we're going to use letters here, such as Q, just set the ball. Q then digs the ball again over the net. This would be a foul because obviously Q has touched it twice in a row. But if Q obviously sets the ball and then and W digs over the net, therefore that's still fine because it's a different person touching it. Also, you cannot go into the net, otherwise this is a foul. So next is the regulations. So the playing area, netball court, is a rectangular shape. In the picture it shows the measurements of the court as well as the outside of the court. The court consists of having 3 sections which are called thirds. The 2 thirds at the end of the court, so we've got one here and one here. So these 2 thirds are at the end of the court, like I said, and these both have goalposts at halfway through the line on the back line. So there are lines separating the thirds that you can see in the picture. And there also is obviously the centre circle in the centre third. This is where the ball starts at the start of the game, and after a goal is scored, this would be when the team makes their tactic centre passes. So if they're passing to wing attack or goal attack, so obviously then they can get into their own third and score. So there is also a semicircle in which is called the D. This is where goal attack, goal shoot, and goal defence and goal keep can go. And so, but it depends obviously what semicircle it is, because it can be goal attacks and goal shoots, and obviously that's where they'll be shooting and attacking, whereas goal attack and goal defence will be defending. So in volleyball, we have obviously never rectangular shape, as you can see in the picture, and it shows you the measurements and length and width of it. So the net hangs over the centre line. The minimum ceiling height should be 23 feet, but it's better if it's higher. Therefore, if someone did hit the ball high, it wouldn't damage the ball or the ceiling. The standard should be set at 36 feet apart, and the standards are obviously the end part of the net, so it should be pulled out quite wide over the court. Next is the equipment. So in netball, they'll be needing a goal post and obviously the net, and everything needs to be in good quality. A couple of pools just in case obviously one is faulty in the match, therefore they can swap them. If the teams turn up in the same kind of similar colours, it's always good to have a spare set of bibs, so then obviously you can tell them apart. So this normally happens, like say in a primary school tournament or even secondary, so it's always good to have them handy. And you definitely obviously need a netball court, and because it'll have the correct markings and everything. So in volleyball, the equipment is needed. So it needs to be a volleyball. It can't be anything else, because obviously it needs to be a soft enough ball you can bounce off your arm, and it obviously doesn't damage anything. The net and the court is needed, obviously, to be able to see the height you have to hit the ball over and the outline of the court. So obviously if the ball's going to go out, you can see the lines and it's going to be the correct measurement. And you need volleyball shoes, knee pads, and sweatbands. So obviously you are allowed to dive for the ball, so obviously the protection on your knees is needed. So next we've got some scenarios. So firstly I'm going to start with netball. So the first scenario is going to be footwork. So footwork, like I said earlier, is when the person with the ball moves with their feet. For example, the wing attack is running to receive a ball due to running fast. The wing attack catches the ball but cannot stop, therefore stepping too far. This indicates footwork. Therefore, the umpire will blow their whistle and with both hands in a horizontal position move them up and down alternately. With their palms facing down to the ground, this indicates footwork. So obviously this picture can show you here. So yeah, they will go up and down alternately. This indicates footwork has taken place. Therefore, the ball will be passed to the opposition to have a free pass. So the opposition will have to stand where the foul was taken place, but they don't have to wait for a whistle. They can go whenever they're ready. So the second scenario is the 3-second rule. This is when the ball is held